Have you ever felt wronged? Have you gone through times when ill-intentioned people tried to harm you or your family? Have you experienced that feeling of helplessness in the face of situations that seem beyond your control? If the answer is yes, know that you are not alone. Since ancient times, men and women of faith have faced similar challenges and found in Psalm 27 a powerful source of protection, courage, and victory. Psalm 27 is considered one of the most powerful prayers in the Bible for those facing adversities, injustices, and the wickedness of people who wish to see us fail. Attributed to King David, this psalm was written by someone who deeply knew both external and internal battles, who experienced persecutions, betrayals, and constant threats, but who never lost his trust in God. In this text, we will explore in depth the transforming power of this prayer, understand its deeper meaning, and discover how to apply it in our daily lives to obtain victory over injustices and protection against evil people. Who is David and why do his words have so much power? To fully understand the strength of Psalm 27, we need to know its author. David was not just a king or a religious poet. He was a man who intensely lived every word he wrote. Before becoming king of Israel, David was a shepherd, warrior, fugitive, and survivor of countless assassination attempts. King Saul, his predecessor, pursued David for years, trying to kill him out of jealousy and fear of losing the throne. David knew the betrayal of close people, faced enemy armies, and lived through moments of deep despair. However, amid all this, he cultivated an intimate relationship with God that became his greatest fortress. When David wrote Psalm 27, he was not speaking of theories or abstract concepts. He was sharing a real experience of divine protection, a living testimony of how faith can sustain us in the darkest moments. That's why his words carry so much power. They were born in the furnace of adversity and tempered by victory. Psalm 27, verse by verse. Let's now dive into the text of Psalm 27, understanding each verse and its profound meaning for our lives. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? Right in the first verse, David establishes the foundation of his confidence. He doesn't begin by asking for protection or complaining about his enemies. He begins by declaring who God is in his life. Light represents guidance, clarity, and hope in darkness. Salvation represents deliverance and security. The stronghold represents unshakable protection. When we face injustices or evil people, our first reaction is often fear. But David teaches us that by recognizing God as our light and stronghold, fear loses its power over us. It's not about pretending problems don't exist, but about putting them in perspective before God's greatness. When evildoers assail me to eat up my flesh, my adversaries and foes, it is they who stumble and fall. Here we have a powerful promise. David doesn't say, if evildoers attack, but when they attack. He recognizes that attacks will come, that ill-intentioned people exist, and that we will face opposition. However, the promise is that those who plot against us will stumble in their own plans. This is a profound spiritual truth. When we are under God's protection, the traps prepared against us turn against those who created them. Injustices don't go unanswered. Wickedness doesn't remain unpunished. There is divine justice that operates even when human justice fails. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war arise against me, yet I will be confident. David raises the level of threat. It's not just about one or two bad people, but an entire army. It's the image of overwhelming opposition, that situation where we seem completely outnumbered and outmatched. And even so, he declares that his heart will not fear. How is this possible? Because David learned that the battle doesn't depend on the size of the army, but on who is fighting beside us. When you face injustices that seem impossible to overcome, when the people against you seem more powerful, more influential, or more numerous, remember, with God, you are always in the majority. One thing have I asked of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. This verse reveals the secret of David's strength. Amid all the battles, persecutions, and injustices, he had one clear priority: to be in God's presence. He didn't ask for riches, revenge against his enemies, or even protection first. He asked for communion with God. This teaches us something fundamental. Our greatest protection against injustices and evil people doesn't come only from asking God for help in moments of crisis, but from cultivating a constant relationship with Him. When we spiritually dwell in the Lord's house, when we make the divine presence our natural habitat, we are continuously protected. For he will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will lift me high upon a rock. Here is one of the Psalm's most comforting promises. God doesn't just protect us, he hides us. There are moments when the best strategy is not to directly confront our adversaries, but to be supernaturally concealed from their machinations. How many times have plans against you simply not materialized without you understanding why? How many times have you escaped dangerous situations almost miraculously? This is God hiding you in his shelter, making you invisible to the eyes of those who want to harm you. The rock represents solid foundation, stability. Even when everything around is unstable, when injustices make the ground seem to move beneath our feet, God places us on a base that cannot be shaken. And now my head shall be lifted up above my enemies all around me, and I will offer in his tent sacrifices with shouts of joy. I will sing and make melody to the Lord. This is the promise of victory. David sees beyond the present moment of conflict. He foresees the day when his head will be lifted up, not in pride but in restored dignity. He sees the moment when justice will prevail and he can celebrate with joy. When you're in the middle of the battle against injustices, it can be difficult to imagine a happy ending. But David teaches us to maintain the vision of victory. He already sees himself celebrating, already sees himself singing and praising. This vision of faith is not naivety, it's a prophetic declaration that good will triumph over evil. Hear, O Lord, when I cry aloud, be gracious to me and answer me. Even with all his faith and confidence, David recognizes his need for God. He cries out, asks for grace, seeks an answer. This teaches us that trusting God doesn't mean acting as if we didn't need him. On the contrary, it means recognizing our total dependence and actively seeking his help. You have said, seek my face. My heart says to you, your face, Lord, do I seek. This is a moment of intimate dialogue between David and God. There is a divine response to the cry, seek my face. And David responds with immediate obedience. Seeking God's face means seeking his presence, his counsel, his direction. When we face evil people and unjust situations, our natural tendency is to seek human solutions, lawyers' advice, confrontation strategies. All of this may have its place, but David reminds us that our first response should be to seek God's face. Hide not your face from me. Turn not your servant away in anger, O you who have been my help. Cast me not off, forsake me not, O God of my salvation. Here we see David's vulnerability. He expresses his greatest fear, not that his enemies will prevail but that God will turn away from him. This is profound wisdom. The worst that can happen to us is not to face adversities, but to face them without God's presence. For my father and my mother have forsaken me, but the Lord will take me in. This is one of the most powerful statements in the entire psalm. David recognizes that even the strongest human bonds can fail. Parents can abandon, friends can betray, spouses can leave. But God will never abandon us. For those facing injustices, especially when they come from close people, this promise is a balm. You may feel completely alone, but you are not. God is with you and he is more faithful than any human being could be. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me on a level path because of my enemies. David asks for divine guidance. He doesn't just want to be protected, he wants to be guided on the right path. When we face injustices, we can be tempted to respond with injustice, to repay evil with evil. But David asks to be guided on God's path, even in the face of enemies. The level path represents a clear way without obstacles, without traps. It's the request for God to remove the impediments placed by our adversaries and lead us safely. Give me not up to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and they breathe out violence. Here David specifically mentions false witnesses. This is one of the cruelest forms of injustice. To be falsely accused, to have your reputation destroyed by lies, to be judged based on falsehoods. If you've been through this, you know how devastating it is. But notice that David doesn't ask for revenge. He simply asks not to be given up to the will of these adversaries. He trusts that God, who knows all truth, will not allow lies to triumph. I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. This is an extraordinary declaration of faith. David doesn't say, I hope, or maybe. He says, I believe. He has absolute conviction that he will see God's goodness, not just in eternity but here, in the land of the living, in his own life. This faith is contagious. When you declare with conviction that you will see God's goodness in your situation, something changes. You're not denying the difficulty of the moment, but you're affirming your certainty that God will act. Wait for the Lord, be strong and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. The psalm ends with an exhortation to active patience. Waiting on the Lord doesn't mean passive inactivity, but maintaining faith while God works. It's being strong even when circumstances haven't changed yet. It's encouraging the heart through prayer and trust. Notice that David repeats, "Wait for the Lord." The repetition emphasizes the importance of this posture. Don't give up. Don't yield to despair. Keep waiting because the answer will come. How to use Psalm 27 in your daily life. Now that we deeply understand the meaning of Psalm 27, how can we apply it practically in our lives? Here are some powerful guidelines. 1. Pray the psalm daily. Make Psalm 27 part of your daily prayer routine. Read it aloud, preferably in the morning, declaring over your life each promise contained in it. By doing this, you are covering your day with divine protection and strengthening your spirit against any adversity that may arise. 2. Meditate on each verse. Don't just read quickly. Stop at each verse, reflect on its meaning, and apply it to your specific situation. If you're facing false accusations at work, for example, meditate especially on the verse about false witnesses. Personalize the prayer to your reality. 3. Declare the promises with faith. When you reach the Psalm's promises, don't just read but declare with faith. Say aloud, "The Lord is my light and salvation, I will not fear anyone." There is power in the word declared with faith. 4. Use in moments of acute crisis. When you feel a spiritual attack, when you receive unjust news, when you discover someone is plotting against you, immediately turn to Psalm 27. Read it urgently, crying out to God for immediate intervention. 5. Combine with fasting. For particularly difficult or prolonged situations, consider combining the prayer of Psalm 27 with fasting. Fasting is a way to intensify your prayers and demonstrate to God your seriousness and dependence on Him. 6. Write and carry with you. Write Psalm 27 on a card and carry it with you. In moments of anxiety, fear, or discouragement throughout the day, take it out and read it again. This will keep your mind focused on God's promises. 7. Share with others. If you know someone who is going through injustices or facing evil people, share Psalm 27 with that person. Pray together, declare the promises together. There is power in collective prayer. Testimonies of victory through Psalm 27. Throughout the centuries, countless people have experienced extraordinary victories by praying Psalm 27. There are reports of unjust lawsuits that were reversed, false accusations that were unmasked, enemies who gave up their persecutions, doors that opened where there seemed to be only walls. These testimonies are not mere coincidence. They are the result of a spiritual law in operation. When we sincerely invoke God's protection and trust in His promises, He acts on our behalf. Not because we are perfect, but because He is faithful. Important precautions when using this prayer. Although Psalm 27 is an extremely powerful prayer, it's important to understand some principles to use it correctly. Don't use for revenge. Psalm 27 is for protection and justice, not for personal revenge. If your heart is full of hatred and desire for harm against others, you are not aligned with the spirit of this prayer. God deals with our enemies, but He wants us to keep our hearts clean. Maintain your own integrity. You cannot ask for protection against injustices if you yourself are committing injustices. Examine your heart. If you have harmed others, done evil, or acted dishonestly, first make peace with your own failings before asking for divine intervention against your adversaries. Combine with wise actions. Praying Psalm 27 doesn't replace taking wise and practical actions. If someone is committing crimes against you, file a police report. If you're being harmed at work, document everything. If you're being slandered, seek legal counsel. God works through natural and supernatural means. Have patience. Answers don't always come instantly. Some battles are long. The important thing is to maintain faith and continue praying, even when circumstances haven't changed yet. Conclusion: your victory is guaranteed. If you've made it this far, it's because you really need the protection and justice that Psalm 27 promises. Perhaps you're facing people who want to destroy your life. Perhaps you're being a victim of injustices at work, in the family, or even in legal proceedings. Perhaps you feel that the whole world is against you. But I want you to know something very important. Your victory is already guaranteed. Not because you are strong or because you have all the answers, but because God, the creator of the universe, the righteous judge, is on your side. He sees every injustice committed against you. He knows every lie told about you. He knows about the nights you spent crying, the tears that no one saw, the desperate prayers you made in secret. and he will not remain indifferent. Just as he protected David from all his enemies, just as he lifted his head above all who tried to destroy him, he will do the same for you. False witnesses will be unmasked. The traps prepared against you will turn against those who prepared them. Truth will come to light. Justice will prevail. It doesn't matter how powerful your adversaries are, how well-planned the machinations against you are, how impossible your situation seems. You have on your side the God who parts seas, who brings down walls, who closes the mouths of lions, who transforms curses into blessings. So, start praying Psalm 27 today. Pray it with faith, with conviction, with absolute certainty that God will hear and answer. Declare over your life, "The Lord is my light and salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" And remember David's final words, "Wait for the Lord, be strong and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. Your victory is on its way. The injustices against you will not have the last word. Evil people will not triumph. Because the Lord is with you and he never loses a battle." Pray, believe, and prepare to witness God's miracles in your life. The goodness of the Lord you shall see in the land of the living. This is the promise. And God always keeps his promises. May Psalm 27 be your spiritual weapon, your shield, your fortress, and your victory song. Amen.